Can't really believe I'm saying it, I'll be as fast as I've ever driven in Venice. You've been a very, very good car. Well guys, welcome to day 3 of the Volks with a destination Venice road trip. We overnighted in Stuttgart in this hotel called the Mk7, part of the Marriott group. It's aimed at sort of a young, trendy hipster market. It's not particularly luxurious. It's quite a good value for money. Probably wouldn't stay here again though, because the aircon was really noisy, and even with earplugs it woke me up. Plus, this car park isn't very secure. But at least my wheels are still there, and we've got a friend parked next to us from Slovakia, came back to my car, and this was here. So it's I'll give you a quick look at this car. It's carbon steel grey. Mk7 Clubsport with the 19-inch wheels, normal seats, black roof, automatic DSG, and yeah, great looking car. I don't know how rare this would be in Slovakia, but it's super rare in the UK and great to see here. So today's driving is quite a long way. We've got about five and a half hours on the road. We're going from here in Stuttgart on a very Porsche sort of trip. We're heading down to the Austrian Alps. The Porsche family are actually Austrian, and they have an estate in the hills at Zell, and we're going to go through Zell onto our final destination at Kaprun, a little ski resort. On the way, we're going to stop at Berchtesgaden, which is famous for where Hitler had his summer retreat, some eagle's nest place up in the hills, but it's also famous for having a panorama road, which is a very scenic road up to the top of a hill. There's a restaurant at the top there as well. It's a little bit of a detour. We've got to go towards Salzburg and then south, rather than sort of just going towards Zell from Munich, but it should be well worth it. So today, guys, should be a very, very good one. Well, it's 2:45 and the Autobahn has let us down again. The reason we're on this really minor road is because Waze has dynamically routed us off a massive traffic jam. I think it's the A8 Autobahn heading east out of Munich. So you'd think east of Munich it might quieten down as you head towards the Austrian border, but no.
Turn right on Rossfeld.
Mark 2.
Do you think these reroutes are good?
Yeah, I do, because there are all these empty roads, hundreds of them, really good roads as well, even though they're quite minor.
Turn right on M11.
And I'd rather keep moving than sit in a 30-degree, probably more with all the engines, traffic jam. Just hate it. And we get to see some of the countryside, which is sometimes interesting, although it is quite a lot like the fens around here. Should still get to the Panoramastrasse at about 4:30, which is perfect time for
Cafe and Kuchen if they haven't geschlossen.
Yeah, coffee and cake if
in 1,000 feet.
If they haven't closed.
Turn right.
It's a German tradition, one that I like, just like driving fast when the Autobahn's not jammed up. Well guys, this is the Rossfeld Panoramastrasse. I've just bought the ticket, put it through the barrier, and we're through. It's 20 to 5 in the afternoon, it's 26 degrees up here, a little bit cooler already because there's a bit of a climb to the ticket barrier. The Eagle's Nest, which was Hitler's holiday home, is somewhere in these hills, and there's another separate excursion you do on a coach up there, but this is basically a road with a view and some amazing corners. At the top of it, hopefully we'll have some refreshments because it's been a long day. This should make up for all that Autobahn rubbish. We paid, I think, about €9 for the tickets. We should have actually come here in the 2015, the TTRS, because we were staying at Zell down the road, but the reason we didn't come was
Very nice weather.
You wouldn't be able to see anything, there wouldn't be a panorama. It was one of those bad weeks in the Alps. So here we are, 8 and a bit years later, in arguably a better car for the job, so it's not all bad. Sports exhaust on, hard suspension on, sport mode on, manual mode on. Let's do it. about halfway up now, and because it's so late, it's quiet. There's lots of people coming down, not many people going up, which is how we like it. And you can just wait at the barrier and let the people ahead of you just go, and then you get the clear road, which makes it money well spent. And the land kind of stops now, it starts going down again, so I think we're at the top. Oh wow. Yeah, that's pretty special, isn't it? And that's pretty shut. Well, that's not the best driving road in the world. It's not bad for Germany, and we are still in Germany now. We've popped into Austria and come back into Bavaria. So over there somewhere is Austria. But people don't really come here for the driving so much. They come here, well, maybe to go to the highest tavern you can drive to in Germany, but mainly for the panorama, the view, which is pretty amazing. What do you think, darling?
It's beautiful. It's very restful.
It is, isn't it? So yeah, our destination tonight is somewhere over there, I think. This is the highest tavern in Germany that you can drive to. It's also the highest tavern cows can walk to. Well guys, welcome to Zell am See in Austria. We got here about 7 o'clock last night. We're staying down the road in a village called Kaprun. And Zell am See, which means Zell on the lake, is famous obviously for its lake, but it's also famous for its mountains. So just over there you can see snow-capped peaks, and in between there, that mountain and the green one there is the Grossglockner high Alpine pass. It was built purely for tourism rather than for people to get from A to B. I think after the war maybe, or maybe just before, but when the Beetle was sort of being built in great numbers and people actually got cars they could afford, they built the pass for people just to drive up it and enjoy the scenery, which is truly, truly stunning. Now the reason I'm on this industrial estate on this Sunday morning is because this road is called VW Porsche Strasse, VW Porsche Street, and it was named after VW Porsche, who was the son of the founder, Ferdinand Porsche, who was the founder of Volkswagen and Porsche. So this is their street. Now, as well as all these dealerships, which have their family names, even though it's Skoda, it's called Porsche Zell am See. It's a bit like Porsche being like Listers or Johnson's. And down here, we've also got Volkswagen, Audi, and at the end, we've got Porsche Zell am See, which must be called Porsche Zell am See, if you get my drift. This amazing looking building is a Porsche design studio, so they design more things than just cars. And yeah, they pretty much owned this town. VW Porsche died in Zell am See in 1998, which is a real shame because he didn't get to see how the Porsche brand developed. They were a bit shaky in the 90s, and after sort of 98 they did really, really well. Now, as well as all this, there's a Porsche Congress Centre in the town, and the Porsche family own an estate somewhere in the hills. Now though, we're going to go up into the mountains where we can get the best view of the lake here at Zell am See. So down there we've got the lake at Zell am See, and there we have the Alps. They're north facing here, so that's why they've still got a lot of snow on them. And then the Grossglockner High Alpine Pass, you can see now really clearly, goes in that valley, and then the scenery you get is of that mountain there. We've been up there twice, haven't we, before you get run over?
Lots of parking going on.
Yeah.
We have. It's great to see it like this.
Yeah. We've come to the Tauern Spa in Kaprun near Zell am See, and I've been given a Porsche model number for my locker key. Okay, now I've come down to the airfield at Zell am See. I love airfields generally, but I love this one in particular because it has been used by Volkswagen for ice driving with the Golf 8R. There's some pretty famous footage of the cars drifting around the corners here in sequence. It looks incredible. Obviously the weather's a little bit different today. It's just been used for flying activities. You can get a flight out from here that takes you out into the mountains for amazing scenery. I don't think it's that expensive, but yeah, I must do that one day. We've come here because there's a cafe. It's open until 8 o'clock and they do food, and the view is just to die for, isn't it? Also, it's famous for, I don't know if you can make out on that hangar over there, the GP ice race. I think that takes place in January every year, and loads of famous racing drivers come down here and they race around the circuit again on the ice. Unfortunately, because it was quite a warm winter in 2022 going into 2023, there was no ice here, so I think the event got cancelled, but hopefully it'll be back again next year because it is a stunning place. It looks great today, but when there's snow here, it's even more beautiful. Well guys, welcome to day 4 of the Volks with a Destination Venice road trip. For full disclosure, this is actually day 5 because we've had 2 nights here in Kaprun. It's a very interesting place, Kaprun. It's very popular with visitors from the Middle East because somebody in the Zell am See marketing department said it actually resembles paradise as described in the Quran. As you saw yesterday, the lake with the mountains and the snow on top of that is pretty spectacular, and because of that it attracts many hundreds of thousands of visitors from the Middle East. It's quite surreal. It's also a lot cooler here than it is in the Middle East as well, which they like. Anyway, it's not somewhere I'd come again necessarily, but it's really good for today's journey because it's at the northern end of the Grossglockner High Alpine Road, a spectacular road built just for tourism before the Second World War. And it's Austria's second biggest tourist attraction after St. Palace in Vienna, I think. So yeah, today should be a great day. It's also inexorably linked with the Porsche family because they were originally in the Carinthia part of Austria, which is to the east of here, and they had the estate, the farm here at Zell am See, and this was a commuter road for the Porsche family and a testing road as well. And also, because it's the 75th year of Porsche this year, there's also something very special at the top of the pass as well. After that, we're going to go through the Dolomites and through Cortina D'Ampezzo, the famous ski resort from the Bond film in the 70s. And then, I can't really believe I'm saying it, I'll be as far south as I've ever driven in Venice. So today should be a very, very good day. Well, this is the ticket barrier for the Grossglockner High Alpine Road. It's 40 euros for a car, which is a bit more than a lap of the Nürburgring, but it lasts quite a bit longer, and I'd say it's better value for money. And also it's taking us to Venice in the direction we want to go to, so it does serve a purpose. As you can see, it's already quite busy. It's 11 o'clock in the morning, and there's all mixture of cars. This is not going to be a balls out drive by any means, but the views should be spectacular. Okay, we've been up the Grossglockner and now we're on our way down towards Italy. It's a lot greener here because we're more south, and it's definitely not a particularly brilliant driving road, but you can pull over, let traffic by, and you can have a bit of fun on some corners. It's certainly very scenic though, and there's a mixture of cars, like classic Beetles, which remind me of what the Porsche family were doing here for 90, 80 years ago. Anyway, when you get a ticket for your €40, you also get a sticker, which my car will wear with pride alongside a Stelvio one and a Timelsio, actually Umbrail Pass one on there. So let's go and fit it on the windscreen now. And there we go, Grossglockner High Alpine Pass. Got to be done if you come to Austria. As I said earlier, it's the second most popular tourist attraction in Austria, and for very good reason. Now, I haven't actually finished with the Grossglockner Pass just yet, because there is a spur on the south side that goes to a place called the Franz Josef Hoher. It's a visitor centre, restaurant, car park and exhibition space, as well as being able to eat and go to the toilet and have an amazing view of this glacier. I came here in 2015 and I was blown away then. It was a bit rainy and cloudy though, but today in the sun, seeing a glacier up close like this is just mind-blowing, really. And down here is a lake full of snow melt that gradually makes its way down to the rivers. You can even see a bit of snow floating down there. But there is an extra special reason why during the summer of 2023, Porsche drivers in particular might want to make this journey. Here, with a view of the glacier behind us, is a little Porsche exhibition. It's not massive by any means. If you want that, go to the museum. But here, we've got a 911 Turbo. And here is a 911 GT2 RS. But that's not the real reason for coming here, because there is a documentary called The Sound of Porsche. There's some cool models along here as well, by the way. And it's on this monitor here. It is in German, but you can kind of work it all out. But basically, it tells you a lot about the origins of Porsche and how they're not based in Stuttgart or even Germany. They're actually based in Austria, particularly around sort of Zell am See and Gmünd in Carinthia, and how the Grossglockner linked the two places for the Porsche family.
Und Zell am See auf, wohin sich schon im Jänner 1945 zurückgezogen hatte und wo sich auch seine Kinder Luise und Ferry sowie das 1944 ausgelagerte Konstruktionsbüro.
It's really important to eat on these road trips, so we just grabbed a baguette that was pretty cheap, €3.50 from the shop in here, and we're sitting with a view of the glacier, eating it and drinking a very bolstering drink that's a mixture of Coke and Fanta. It's perfect for road trips because it doesn't have to straighten out your head if you're a little bit tired. So yeah, let's eat. Well, this is the Italian border, so we're going from Austria into Italy, the sixth country of the trip. It's quite a minor road here, so there's no sort of obvious change apart from the sign. There's some old customs houses, I think, but they don't use them anymore. And here we are in Italia, and there's a Carabinieri Alfa Romeo. We're just turning left off this east-west road, heading into the Dolomites, and we've just seen our first sign for Venice, which does lift our spirits 200 kilometres, but first stop Cortina, which is just sort of 26. Okay, we're now in Cortina D'Ampezzo, a place we've been dying to come to for ages. Obviously, it was in a Bond film in about the 70s, but it was also in our memories from when we stayed at the Nürburgring, and in the car park of the, I think the Dorint Hotel, were a load of Ford Cortinas from the UK, and their road trip was called Cortina or Bus. So they drove all the way here from the UK in those cars, which is pretty impressive. You'd have thought though it'd be a little bit more Italian, but it still retains a lot of the Austrian influence in the architecture, and Audi seem to own this town as well, which is kind of surprising. There's loads of Audi bits and pieces here and there, but I guess Quattro is very well suited to the terrain around here. Now it's normally a ski town, obviously in the height of summer it's not, but it's still really, really busy. It's really hard to find somewhere to park. There's people hiking and biking, and it feels pretty nice, doesn't it?
It's beautiful, yeah.
And obviously you've got the mountains sort of all around you here, you look between there as well. Yeah, so it's a nice little stop off before our final leg on this Volkswagen road trip, which is the next sort of 100 miles or so to Venice. Well guys, we made it finally to Venice, although the last couple of miles were actually by bus because we're staying in Mestre, where you can actually park your car at the hotel. Obviously Venice is a car-free zone, which is actually quite nice to come to after 5 days on the road. And what I've come to realise over those 5 days is that the Porsche Boxster is probably one of the best cars Porsche make, and if that's the case, it's probably one of the best cars you can buy. It's so exciting to drive when it's in the sportier modes with the roof down and the loud exhaust, just like that boat. But when you're really tired at the end of a long day on the road, like I was when we got on the Autostrada heading to Venice at about 7 o'clock last night, it just settles down and becomes a really nice wafter. And that's what makes this car so special. On the one hand, it's so visceral. On the other hand, it's just so easy to drive when you're tired. Anyway guys, I think now it's time for a bit of ice cream. So as ever, thanks for watching this Volkswagen video. Keep subscribing, keep commenting, and I'll see you for the next one very soon. Ciao. Well, we've done 2,056 miles and the old girl hasn't even used any oil. I've never heard those fans come on before. You've been a very, very good car. Thank you.